Happy new football year, Washington Commanders Nation. It's your guy, Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Black Monday just hit the league yesterday, but Josh Harris is going from 0 to 100 real quick after relieving head coach, de facto president Ron Rivera of duties. Washington got right to the shits, and we have requested interviews with everybody who is somebody in the market for the head coaching vacancy and for the president of football operations vacancy here in DC. And they have got right to it. The list so far on the head coaching side includes offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, and assistant head coach, defensive line coach Anthony Weaver. On the front office side, Adam Peters, San Francisco 49ers, Ian Cunningham, Chicago Bears, Glenn Cook, Cleveland Browns, Alec Hallaby, Philadelphia Eagles, Mike Borgonzi, Kansas City Chiefs, and Will McClay, Dallas Cowboys. We've been trying to poach from our rivals here in a search that he promised would be thorough but rapid. Put that rapid in all caps because, like Nikki Jabwala of the Washington Post just said on Twitter, they are trying to find a head of football operations in warp speed. They're doing this very fast, and we're at the point where we're probably going to have a head of football operations by early next week. We're going into the divisional round of the playoffs, not playing football, but with a head of football operations in the tuck, in the wings, and here to help interview these head coaching candidates, because the head coaching interview process is going to be a longer one than this one. And my favorite bit of news about how Josh Harris is courting these candidates is he's courting them at his home, at his estate in Miami. They're not bringing these candidates to dystopian post-apocalyptic building looking Ashburn Park at Commanders Park. They're not bringing them out there to the Swamplands practice facility that exists in Ashburn. They're courting these guys in Vice City, Miami. They're courting him at his Miami mansion. And the interviews will all be done on the front office side by tomorrow night. Mike Borgonzi's up first of the Chiefs. Adam Peters is up tonight. Cunningham, Cook, and Hallaby are up tomorrow. And I believe Will McClay will be, if accepting the interview, he will be interviewed tomorrow as well. So they will have these front office interviews done by Wednesday night. That is stat. That is efficient. That is a beautiful process. They're trying to get this job filled with the quickness. I've told you all year, expect Washington to be the first front office job fulfilled in the offseason because they've set on this information all year. And the way that Josh Harris and the Hogs, the Harris ownership group, have moved in silence impresses me. The fact that it never leaked out to the public that Rick Spielman and Bob Myers were going to be a part of his Avengers Assemble council here to help hire folks in the building is amazing, because Washington has been quite the leak factory over the years during the Daniel Snyder era of Washington. The fact that he was able to keep that close to his vest, and then all of a sudden, all these names coming out. Now the leaks are purposeful at this point. They want everybody to know we mean business. This is all the people we want to interview. And we're interviewing them fast, and we're wine and dining them at Harris's home with Rick Spielman and Bob Myers and the rest of the ownership group down in Miami. Mike Borgonzi, you're up. Adam Peters, you're up. And the rest of the guys are interviewing tomorrow night. We're going to know about this. We're going to know about this president of football operations situation very soon. And I'm curious to how the structure works, because they kept Marty Herney and Martin Mayhew in position because they want to empower the lead front office guy they hire to come in and structure it how he sees fit. So he will have the responsibility of sending them their boxes and their key cards and hiring his own GM, EVP, senior vice president, director player personnel, he will get to hire out the rest of his front office structure. And then in unison and in collaboration with ownership, they're going to select the head coach of this team. But I imagine as their interview process is happening, they're getting their input for the head coaching position while they're doing it. And another key point of why this thorough search is such a good thing for Josh Harris, they're getting 15 different approaches, builds, opinions of how they should go forward here in DC. Not every opinion is right, but it is very essential and very advantageous to hear as many builds as possible, as many takes as possible on how this thing should go to make a sustainable winner out of an organization that was one of the once storied franchises of this league. This is great. This is great news. We already sound like we're light years past the Daniel Snyder era of DC. We're talking to all the folks. We're getting all the folks in the building, and we got all the people from the top list, the top brass available candidates to be executives in the NFL. They're meeting with our guys, and we may double dip and get more than one. We may let one run the football operations and one be the GM working under that head of football operations. You never know. This is beautiful. This is a new day in DC, and we wake up on Tuesday, January 9th, to the news that Josh Harris is actually courting these guys at his Miami estate. Let the games begin. Washington has set the tone. Washington is not the reactor. We're the thing that the league is reacting to. We set the pace for people interviewing guys. We were the first to come out, stick our chests out, and say, we're interviewing this guy, this guy, this guy, that guy. We got the league reacting to us, and we are a topic of conversation in a positive sense going into the offseason of 2024. Those of you whose teams made the playoffs, congratulations. Wish y'all the best of luck. Except for Philly and Dallas. But us, we're on to the offseason. An offseason so important. An offseason with so much magnitude about the future of this franchise. Because if we hit right this offseason on the right guys, then along the road, we will have a ticket to the dance on a consistent basis. We have to hit on these hires. It is with absolute certainty that we have to hit on these hires, and I think we're going to, man. We got the golden goose coming in tonight, Adam Peters, a guy that has shunned interviews the last couple of years. We got him coming in the building tonight, Miami, with a first-round bye. He's coming in to interview for a job. We got some of the top execs in the league, but let's move over to the head coaching conversation. I think a very interesting trend is that their only request for 2 offensive guys. With the league trending towards an offensive coach, they only have their eyes set on 2 offensive guys. But the 2 offensive guys they did set their eyes on are the 2 everybody wants. Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinators for the Houston Texans and the Detroit Lions, 2 of the hottest offenses in the league. Either one, win-win. Those are my top 2 candidates. Bobby Slowick's been here before. You know that graphic that they show every fucking game the NFL plays? They never let us live down the 2013 staff that included every head coach in the NFL pretty much. They don't even include the fact that Raheem Morris was also on that staff. Neither do they include the fact that we actually only won like 3 games that year. But I get the principle behind it. We lack the foresight and the vision to see that these guys were head coaching candidates. These guys were also like 19, 20 years old at the time. They were young as hell. They were wet behind the ears. But Bobby Slowick, coming back to interview with his former team, he has developed a young quarterback as well as you can develop a young quarterback in C.J. Stroud's rookie year in Houston. That is what I want. Those are my top 2. But Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick. And I guess you could put 2B because you cannot scoff at or turn up your nose to what Mike Macdonald's done as a defensive coordinator for Michigan and for Baltimore. At 36 years old, what an experienced guy he is. And what a charismatic leader. That's a leader of men and an X's and O's guys, Mike Macdonald. So that's my big three. I appreciate that we're casting the net far and wide, and we're bringing in the Dan Quinns of the world, the Anthony Weavers of the world, the Aaron Glenns and the Raheem Morrises. I appreciate that. But let's call a spade a spade. Washington's head coach is going to be Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, or Mike Macdonald. Give me 36-year-old X's and O's wizard with the ability to connect to people, with human personality, not so stoic and quiet. I need young cutting edge guy running the operation here. Young CEO type. Macdonald, Slowick, Johnson, that's what we need here in DC. Young blood, fresh blood. We want to live in the current age of football, 2024. I do appreciate that we're picking the brains of people like Dan Quinn. I want to hear all of Dan Quinn's ideologies and philosophies of football because the guy just builds dominant defensive units. Dominant defensive units. I want to learn how to get to the quarterback. I want to learn how to set turnover records. So them casting this net means they get to pull inspiration and ideas from such a wide variety of people of all ages, of all ethnic backgrounds. I love it. I love how they're doing it. This search has just begun, and I am so excited. It is day 2 of the Commanders' Christmas off season, and this is the current updates as of now. The interviews are starting today with Mike Borgonzi and Adam Peters down in Miami, and then Hallaby, Cunningham, Cook, and company will all interview tomorrow. So all of these front office interviews will be completed by end of night Wednesday. We will probably be knowing who's taking this position by end of week. By end of wild card week, we will know who the head of football operations is for Washington. Then we can turn all our attention to the structure of that front office and who's going to be the head coach of the 2024 and beyond Washington Commanders. That is all I got for right now. This is Rio Robinson checking in. And if anything juicy or spicy is added to the array of notes, I will be on here to update y'all with the quickness. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Let's build, baby. Deuces.